I'm a huge believer that like feminism has completely destroyed our dating culture and has like really, I think, negatively impacted women. Marriage is the best possible thing for women. It is. It truly is. Women do better financially. Men do better financially as well when they're married. There's been literally studies about this. Married conservative Christian women are the happiest people in society.
Amen.
I believe that sex is supposed to be between two people who love each other and are committed to each other. Yeah. And so I think we live in a culture now that has completely degraded that and has made sex transactional. And I think that largely hurts women more than men. And I want to preface this by saying I believe we have the same rights under the eyes of God in America, and I will always fight for that. But I don't think men and women are equal. I don't think you can compare men and women. I think they're intrinsically different. And so that's my problem with feminism. While they degrade men, they also are trying to make women more like men. We need more masculinity in the US. I think men have been degraded in this country, and I think they've been torn down, and I think they're told that masculinity is toxic. Masculinity is not toxic. Masculinity is the most important thing to make a country.
But there is toxic masculinity traits.
There's bad traits that men have that are not good, but I think women enable that. When we have a culture where you sleep around with guys, you enable toxic masculinity. You enable guys to take advantage of your body and use you as like a credit card for sex rather than making that man work for you. So I think it's like, what I find funny is that feminism brings out that so-called toxic masculinity, and we allow like the quote unquote, I hate using this word, but like really the patriarchy to take advantage of us and use our bodies, and instead of work for us, build a family with us and treat us with respect and dignity. And I'll say this, the whole hookup culture allows women to become victims of sexual violence and abuse. It's not safe for a woman to meet a man at a bar and go home with him. Someone she doesn't know, someone her friends don't know. You put yourself in a very, very risky situation doing that. But instead, feminism, instead of talking about that, how that is a huge cause of sexual violence, they're encouraging women to do that. They're saying, go be like a man, go have sex with a random guy. And women, just biologically, we have more implications when we have sex with a guy. We could become pregnant, we put ourselves at risk for sexual violence. And like we talked about earlier, women become more attached to men. So I think it actually leads a lot of women to depression when they're engaging in this meaningless hookup culture. How is it empowering to have sex with a guy that uses your body and then discards you like you're nothing? I'm very pro-life because I believe it's such a horrible thing for a woman to kill her own child. I think it's against nature. I think it's against every single thing inside of a woman. Yeah. And so that's why it's so important that sex is sacred, because there are those implications that men do not have. And as women, we should be holding men to a higher standard instead of lowering ourselves to theirs. Yeah. I think another aspect of feminism that really bothers me is this obsessive culture of making women go into work and encouraging women to work, which I'm a huge fan of. Like I love I think we're all Americans and we should pursue our dreams and our career, but not at the expense of your family. And so they're leading women into this corporate life that's so unfulfilling, and it's just like honestly buying into this whole capitalist system where you're just sitting at your desk all day and you leave behind no legacy and you have no family and there's no fulfillment. And as someone who works and also has a daughter, I will tell you every day of the week, every second of the day, being a mom is way more fulfilling and important to me than whatever career is happening. And that doesn't say that you can't be passionate about your career, but I think there is no focus on that with women. Instead, it's go into the corporate machine, work all day, freeze your eggs, we'll pay for your... And I think that's so toxic and detrimental to women.
You know what? I'm so tired of these low muscle mass, man-hating feminists crying about how women make 80 cents on the dollar. Look around you. 99% of the back-breaking, body-destroying work, hard labor done in this country is done by men. Stuff like this. We don't see a bunch of men complaining about having to do this body-destroying work. You don't think that kind of work deserves a little more pay?
I love women's delusions, but I cannot support this. A rich man is not coming in to save you, sister. No one is coming to save you. At best, the closest you will ever get to being fully provided for is being a stay-at-home mom, but I spoke about this at length in my podcast, link in bio, by the way. Being a stay-at-home mom is a job. you're just not in the traditional workforce, which makes people devalue your labor, and also the fact that you're performing domestic tasks like cooking, cleaning, and caring for the children. But providing the early childhood education for your children, keeping up with the house, sometimes it involves managing the finances, that's all very labor intensive. It is absolutely a job. It is it's just an insult to women who stay home to be like, well, only one of you works. Both people are working, they're just working in different avenues. Internalized misogyny prevents people from realizing that. But moving on to the fact that this will never happen to you, in America, you need a lot of money to provide a comfortable, good life for two people to live off of one income. And the number of men who make that amount of money, there's just not enough for them to go around. And then this is the part where you say, well, I'm the exception. No, you're not. By virtue of the fact that you weren't born into that social class, by virtue of the fact that you don't have the physical, social, or emotional attributes of the women who are able to become the exception, it's not going to happen to you. What is going to happen is that if you continue to ride this pipe dream and not invest in jobs, school, hobbies, anything other than consuming delulu content about femininity and a provider man, you're going to find yourself at 35 with no real accomplishments, no goals, not a husband to speak of, and realizing that like you had no life plan. And not that 35 is old or anything, but it's a little too old to be in that situation. And like, I'm kind of empathetic because I get it. It really says something about the social and economic state of women right now that so many women are jumping onto this bandwagon because it provides an escapist fantasy. But at the same time, like, why is it shameful to want to be provided for? I can't, like, and I know that we're not losing our best and brightest to femininity content, but you should still do something with your life. You know?
Ladies, it's time to leave the broke boys and men with no direction in the dust. If you're tired of dating men that can't support you or aren't at the level that you are at, you've got to check out Lexi Dating. Lexi is an exclusive community full of high-end and successful individuals. So if you're tired of dating men with no direction, you should check out Lexi Dating.
Men, it's time to leave the dumb who think the average man's salary is 6 figures in the dust. If you're tired of dating annoying independent boss babes who think they're elite when they're average at best, check out Trad Wife Dating. It's a community of kind, respectable, childbearing individuals. So if you're tired of dating girls who accuse you of having no direction when they medicate themselves for having no direction themselves, check out Trad Wife Dating, where a woman knows her place. You want to say one?
Yeah. The problem with American women is that they treat their relationships like they're transactional. If he does this for me, I will do that for him. If he does this, I will do that. And guess what? Relationships aren't transactional. This is not a business. If you want to flourish in your relationship, give without expectation, and he will give in return.
The best way to gain control of the most intelligent, powerful species on the planet would be to completely divide them from the love within themselves. As soon as they are old enough to begin creating an understanding of who they are, force them into a system that teaches them that it is wrong to be yourself if yourself is different from what is accepted as normal. Confuse them about their own biological makeup so that they think that permanently altering their body is the answer to happiness. Require their daily attendance at an institution that makes them focus only on the information that is provided. Make them attend that institution from age 5 until an adult and repeatedly test them on the information so that it becomes their truth. Give them an explanation to everything so that they never have a chance to make their own assumptions of the world. Scold them and humiliate them if they suggest an opinion that opposes that of their authorities. Keep reminding them of how cruel their ancestors were to each other in the past and broadcast how cruel they are to each other in the present. Only show them tragedies on the news so that they live in fear and think the worst of one another. Convince them that their species used to be that of an incognizant wild animal. Make them think that their very existence is so incredibly random that they lack purpose and struggle to make sense of a creator. Tell them that their kind is as smart as they've ever been so that they don't question the integrity of the system that they're in. Provide them idols with artificial beauty and use them as examples of what it is to look perfect so that they are never content with their own appearance and can't help but to compare themselves amongst each other. Create addictive digital platforms that rank them by numbers so that they base their self-worth off of the amount of followers that they have and are never satisfied. Build a society around them in which those who have money benefit and those who don't fail. Make money their main focus, but make it so difficult to accumulate that they remain in a place of constant struggle, forced to dedicate the majority of their time to the system that made it this way. Tax them in every way possible, but tell them that it's for their own benefit so that they don't think twice about paying it. Take so much of their time and energy throughout the week, but give them 2 days to themselves so that they feel a sense of reward and don't fight back. Promote the consumption of poison in every social setting so that even on those 2 days, they remain disconnected from themselves and each other. Pump their food with excess sugars and addictive chemicals, but make it cheap, advertised, and easily accessible so that they never stop consuming. When their food makes them ill, prescribe them medication that only masks the symptoms so that they become dependent on it every day. Charge them so much money for healthcare so that they stay in a constant loop of consuming, medicating, and working. Cause chaos amongst them and blame it on a group of their own so that they form judgmental stereotypes. Turn them against each other in so many ways so that even if they were to connect on one, they would still be divided by another.